Welcome back, my nomads. Welcome back to another Bitcast. It's your boy, and I'm here with Zach once again. What's good, Zach?
How you doing, baby girl? I'm good.
I'm chilling, man. Chilling like a villain, man. Yo, so me and Zach, we're gonna do something a little different today. Instead of reviewing a movie, we're gonna do some hot topics today. Just dedicate a whole episode to some stuff we got to get off our chest. So Zach, anything you want to get off your chest real quick?
Yes, actually, it's not movie related, it's game related, and I've smashed through it. It's Final Fantasy 16,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm surprised with the amount of commercial and marketing this game's going through right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, have you seen commercials on TV about it?
Not at all.
Oh, well, you don't really watch a lot of TV. So I don't either, but I see them anyway when I do watch it. I'm like, this is quite fascinating. Like, do you remember a time, I don't know, say about 10 years ago? How often did you see a commercial about a game?
Not often, not at all. You would
It's
have to
pretty
look that up
common now.
on YouTube. My favorite YouTube channel that doesn't exist anymore was game trailers. I used to always go on game trailers whenever I hear about a game or whatever, but they don't exist anymore. So, oh
Shame.
well, it's a shame. But now you
But
got these games having commercials on, whatever streaming service you use and even on live TV. It's because, we talked about this offline. The gaming industry is taking over when it comes to entertainment and storytelling. I feel like Hollywood, TVs, movies, they're kind of dipping and diving now because the whole idea was to everybody wanted their own streaming service and everyone was like, we need to put new content on the streaming service. So it was just quantity over quality. But video games have slowly surpassed, I would say, the Hollywood movie and TV industry. It's taken over.
yeah, Hollywood's kind of dying in the regard that they had the monopoly of entertainment. And it's very fascinating how Hollywood originated from being detractors from the mainstream narrative back when they started with Thomas Edison,
Yeah.
right? Like he had control over film. They're like, well, you know what? Let's just move as far away as we can from this fool and make our own thing. And they did. Now it's kind of like circled all the way back to where like what we say goes. If the movies have our own views and all this other stuff that we're going to throw at you, that's fine. Other than that, you can get out. And people are very disenfranchised with it. I've noticed anyway.
So has it lived long enough to see itself become the villain?
Yeah, over 100 years. That's
I would
enough
say
time. What do
so.
you
I
think?
mean, there's a reason why there's a strike going on. I mean, oh,
Again, again.
so again, so the writers obviously are striking. The DGA, the
Hmm.
Directors Guild of America, just struck a deal with the big studios, but the Actors Guild, they have um they have voted to strike. So they aren't officially
They need
striking.
them.
They
What
they
are you
they
gonna
aren't
do?
yeah, they aren't officially striking, but they voted yes, if there's a need to strike, they can strike. So be careful. Be very, very careful, my friends, because Hollywood might be at a standstill for a long time. I mean, this writer strike has no sign of ending anytime soon. But if you have the actors and the writers,
Yeah, I think one you have to have one with the other, right? And I think the last time we had a strike, it showed with the content, and we talked about that with the James Bond movie and
yeah, Quantum of
Transformers,
Solace
and
and Transformers
yeah,
2. A
yeah.
lot
So
of TV shows suffered as well. But you know, it's funny that you just talked about how, because yes, it's true, Hollywood emerged. It went to the West Coast, to LA and California because um all the regulations that were over here in the East Coast, Thomas Edison and them, they were like, yo, let's make our own thing on the West Coast because it was nothing but land in the West, nothing but open land. So they made lots and studio buildings, and Hollywood was born. And I'm wondering if the big studios won't budge, if the writers and the actors will get together, create their own thing because we have so many ways of putting out content and getting an audience with YouTube, Vimeo. There's so many avenues that you can make your own. You can create your own lane. Who's to say the writers and the actors won't create their own lane at some point? These actors out here made millions of dollars off of movies and TV shows. They can create their own little studios and just partner with YouTube, Vimeo, whatever, and become the new Hollywood.
Music industry had that reckoning too. You see a lot of artists make their own labels, and look what happened.
Oh, yep, yep, yep. So, I mean, these big studios, they need to watch out because they're sitting here. They made so much money off of the streaming services and everything
Mhm.
with the new way that TV is being congested now that it's like, yo, you gotta the writers were only asking for someone did the math about like 2 or 3% of the profits, and you can't even give them that. Like, how much money does someone need? Like, I don't understand it, but I'm not in the industry, so it is what it is. But yeah, I think there's a
Yeah, I
reckoning
think there's
coming.
an important there's an important separation you gotta make, right? Industry is
Hmm.
in Hollywood industry versus everything else, right? And there's
Right.
a very important line between the 2.
Right, man. It's coming because I just saw an article today. I didn't read it. I just full disclosure, I didn't read it. I just saw the headline. It said Indiana Jones 5 set to an opening weekend of 65 million, which is good. And then it said dot 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 except it costs $295 million to make Indiana Jones. And I was like, why? Like why did it why did it cost that much? Why do we have to this day a bad CGI younger version of Indiana Jones? Like why are we doing all this? Why is Harrison Ford still playing Indiana Jones and doing all these actions? Like someone made the joke online was like Harrison Ford needs a new agent or a new manager because it seems like they're just like yes to everything. They're like, hey old man, get out on set, go back to work. It's like
He
what
doesn't
what
need
are
the
we
money,
doing?
he's more than set, dude.
I know, so it must be for the love of it. But I hear he's a big grouch on set, so I don't know what he's doing.
He's 80 years old, bro.
True. I guess when you get that age, you're a grouch about everything. So
You're like, "Why am I still alive, Grouchy?"
I know, right? Why am I still doing this? Why aren't my kids paying for all my bills? But I mean, they say that's the secret to success. You keep working until the day you die. Keep your brain moving. But it's
So
kind of
what do you have to
ridiculous.
get off? I feel like you're just waiting to explode to talk to
Well,
me.
I got a few things. I mean, since we're talking about Indiana Jones, let's talk about so for Father's Day, my wife gave me the Regal Unlimited Pass, which is awesome because I get to see as many movies as I want in a whole year. So I've been watching movies. And
You're probably the only person who does that.
yeah, when I show up, I'm like one of the few people there. And they're like, "Hey, how you
You're like
doing?"
first name basis. Oh, look, it's the guy single-handedly keeping us alive.
Yes, and I buy concessions. Even though my ticket is free, I buy concessions to
I
keep
buy
them afloat.
concessions too, just because I feel bad. Yeah.
Yeah. But since we're talking about it, I saw a bunch of trailers and
Hmm.
I'll talk about this to stay on topic. I saw the Indiana Jones trailer because I don't watch trailers, but sitting in there for Transformers, I saw the trailer of Indiana Jones. I was like, yeah, I'm not seeing this movie. And it leads me to this topic of because I called you the other day, I was like, yo, Zach, when it comes to Lucasfilm, I don't think we are the targeted demographic anymore. And we just gotta live with it and we just gotta move on. You know?
So just for clarification, because I already know, but for everyone else, it's not because we're dudes or anything to do with that. I mean, it might. Who knows?
I mean, it might, but I don't know. When you have the showrunner of a major Star Wars show talking about how the problem with the prequels was that no one said no to George Lucas, which you can argue could be the case, But then she goes on and
The
says,
writing was awful. I mean, take your pick.
but then she goes off to say, because there was no one there to say no to George Lucas, that is the epitome of misogyny and the wrong that it
Oh my
causes in
god.
this industry.
So what was the
Now
reason for the new ones?
I'm paraphrasing, but yeah,
That's fine.
that's a good
What's the
point,
reason for
Zach.
the new ones? Is it
I
misogyny? Is it to make straight people? Like I don't understand.
Yeah, that's a good question because I'm like, well, how do you explain the sequel? The sequels were
Sequels were
so
worse.
bad that
They were
they made
worse.
the prequels look like classics.
I'd rather be blind than watch them again.
Dude, I actually have seen the prequels many times.
Me too.
The sequels, I've only seen once.
That's all you need.
Once.
Why do you need to see more?
I've seen episode 7 multiple times because my
Well,
wife
it's
likes it.
because
But
really.
yeah,
Hmm.
it doesn't take a lot for my wife to like. She likes Thor: Love and Thunder. You know, she thought
I
Quantumania was pretty good. You know, I mean, not
did
to.
she have a stroke or something? Like, is she all right?
Well, to be fair, when I met my wife, she didn't watch. She didn't know anything about pop culture. She didn't watch TV or
So you
movies.
did this to her, is what you're saying?
Her bar is
You gave
very
her.
low. Her bar. She when I met her, she didn't know that Darth Vader was Luke Skywalker's father. She didn't even know what Darth Vader was. She didn't know what Star Wars was. She read it online. And when she texted me that, I called her. I said, "What are
What
you
do you?
doing? Why are you reading this? I told you I would show you the movies." And she,
What? So she's never heard of Darth Vader.
huh?
She didn't know who Darth Vader was.
No, she didn't know anything about Star Wars when I first met her.
How? Like even people that live in the middle of like a rock in Argentina know what Star Wars is.
Bro, this is 8 years ago. I said the same thing. I said, "How?" I said, even my sister, who doesn't even like this crap, knows who Darth Vader is. Like she knows this
Everyone
stuff.
knows who he is.
Everyone knows. She's like, I
She
don't
must
know.
have lived in a void. You sure there wasn't like a reptilian shapeshifter that
She didn't really
pretended to be
watch
her?
movies or TV at all, at all. And when we first started dating, I gave her a stack of DVDs and Blu-rays. It was like, watch all of this.
Shows how long ago it was, guys. Keep in mind DVDs.
I still have, I still use DVDs and Blu-rays. Okay, still use them to this day. I just bought a couple the
Your
other day.
reasoning doesn't make sense because ownership doesn't mean anything even if you have the physical copy.
Hey, but if I got a physical copy and it's in a player that's not hooked up to the internet, they can't do anything.
Yeah, until it dies, then what?
I keep a digital copy of the digital copy of the digital copy. Come on, man. Who you talking to, baby? Come on, man. This is what I do, man.
So
Just rip the disc, keep it off a off internet machine, you know?
it's not Bitcoin in some kind of like hard case wallet. You know what I mean?
It might be Bitcoin soon, you know? It might be people uh because what's it called? Because of streaming services now, people are still fixing movies like when Love and Thunder came out on Disney Plus, they fixed the VFX. So it's like you'll never have the original version unless you buy the digital I mean the hard copy or
How many
whatever.
people have the real theatrical release of this first Star Wars movie?
I do.
It says, yeah, I have it too. But or I
He's like,
did.
yeah, actually I have it
But
too.
it's no, but it shows Han shooting first, and then they changed it because of
Yeah,
things
I
after the
got the
fact.
special edition disc where it has the original 1977, I mean 1970, yeah, 77 or 78 version, and then it also has the digital edited versions that George kept editing on, which I don't
By the way,
watch.
did you see that Princess Leia's dress was going up for auction?
I saw that. I saw that.
It's a lot of money. So obviously you don't wear that. What do you just do with it? You just keep it in a case, keep it in your
Keep it in a
closet. What do you
case.
do?
Keep it in a case. I don't get it, which is why I'm not a collector, you know. But
Well, I am
yeah,
on certain things, right? But I
a
just
dress, I don't know. I don't know. But you know, the demographic that Lucasfilms is targeting right now, they'd probably want to buy it. You know, it's a form of it's a
talk
sign
about
of a
blue hair
strong
people.
female warrior. You know,
Oh, those. Okay, never mind. Who's going a
yeah.
different way? Um, so tell me about what's wrong with this. What do you? So, all right, let's take a couple steps back here because I think we're unearthing a cultural issue as well, right? which
Yes.
is, why do you think when you have female protagonists, it's not as entertaining? Because let's just call a spade, right?
Mhm.
When you have stuff like this, like it's just not as it's not as entertaining to watch, whatever the case is, right? And you can say it's like
I
it's
got
got
name.
sexist overtones or whatever the case is, what we're talking about, like, but in order for you to unearth an issue, you got to talk about it, regardless of what your fear of retribution is going to be or called. So, what do you
So
think?
I'm gonna say this: there are still great female protagonists. The problem with
Hmm.
Lucasfilms is they're not getting the right people, and it's not just a Lucasfilm issue. It's a lot of studios now, including Disney, who are just getting these writers who don't know how to write good characters, not good female characters, just good characters. Period.
Yeah,
You know,
same regurgitated archetypes.
yeah, you pointed out in a couple of podcasts ago. You said you were talking about Ripley and the Alien movies, and I brought up Sarah Connor in the Terminator movies. Sarah Connor is one of my favorite female protagonists of all time.
Fantastic. Hmm.
Fantastic. You know, I mean, her growth from the first movie of being the damsel in distress to the badass that she is in the second movie. And yes, I still believe that there's only two Terminator movies. Um, yeah, it's just amazing. And I was watching Extraction 2 the other day on Netflix with Chris Hemsworth and then the character
That's
Nick.
pretty good.
Yeah, the character Nick. I can't pronounce her name, I'm sorry. But great female character, great strong female character, great writing, great action directing as well. Because if I see another 150-pound uh, female protagonist punch a 210-pound body like built dude, punch him out cold, I'm like, and then someone pointed out when he saw the trailer for the video game Star Wars Outlaws with the female character, she's knocking dudes out with one hit, and I'm like, not even Sam Fisher, one of my favorite video game characters of all time, could do that. He had to hit you in the back of the neck, in the back of the
Yeah,
head.
you think she's got Mike Tyson stopping power with every punch? You know what I
I
mean?
don't know. Maybe she's a alien that looks like a human, but she's an alien who has super strength, like the Scrolls have in the Secret Invasion show. But in the Captain Marvel movies, they were just regular. They didn't have super strength. Whatever. I don't care. But like Captain Marvel, another example of a poorly written female character. But yeah, I don't get it, man. You
Because I don't
know.
think they know how to write good women characters. Like there was such a push for so long. Like why is it so male centric? Okay, fine,
Hmm.
we can have that argument why that was the case. But
But Star Wars was
then,
never male centric. I hate that narrative. It was never male centric. It always had a strong female character. Always. The prequels, the
right, but
sequel. I
it's not
mean,
just
not the
Star.
sequel.
I'm just saying, like in general, right? Now, like
Right.
I'm just going for the general scope. And
Mm,
you think about it, there's like you said, there's a lot of movies or in general or storylines that just lack that real depth. Like
mm,
there's always just some kind of it seems it's like one of three or four different like archetypes of what a female character is, and then that's it. It's like there's not really a whole lot of mystery or like
no.
connection to them at all, and it's just like, okay, you're just really just pulling out from a different one, and you're just throwing it different clothes, and they look a little different. That's it.
And it makes it worse
You
when
don't create like an incentive to be connected.
mm, yes, what you're talking about is a lack of depth. And then on top of that, usually when they have those poorly written female characters, the male characters in these movies and shows are just incompetent as hell. They're cowards or they're just evil,
Why?
just
Why
for
do
the
you
sake of
have
evil.
to like belittle and diminish one character to I mean, we know why, but it's just rhetorically like why do you have to do that for one character who happens to be a male
I
to
think we see
completely show the woman characters empowered? And that's the complete opposite of what empowerment is. Empowerment is supposed to be on your own volition, not
mm,
because of the lack of someone else's ability. That's ridiculous.
right. And we're in the middle of an overcorrection, and I think we're going to start seeing everything balance out where people are like, oh, we just can't put
Well,
these female characters
we're
who
going
are
back
just
to
good at
sanity
everything.
in real life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's everything else. Because here, let's be real. If it's
Mm,
business, corporations, take your pick, whatever it is, They follow where the money is. Where the money is sanity, and this whole blue hair group of people who have screamed this stuff for so long, who have no business saying anything, but has dictated their
Right.
culture long enough.
Right.
And now it's starting to come back like, you know what, this is kind of what we want. And we're tired of being labeled a certain way just because, sorry, that's what I like. You know? I mean, until you give me like a real good woman character, like, yeah, I'm gonna continue saying the stuff's trash. And that's not on me. That's up to them to actually like create something that's worth watching. You know, like,
Exactly, man.
look, like you said, like you have Alien, series, you have Terminator, who have really good women characters, but give me a couple others.
Gina Carano's character, I forgot her name in Haywire. I think it was 2014, the 2014 martial arts movie. It was like an underground, like low budget martial arts film, but it's a
Oh yeah,
great film.
Gina
Michael
Carano's.
Fassbender was in it.
Mm-hmm.
Channing Tatum was in it. Antonio Banderas was in it. Ewan McGregor was in it. So I'm saying all these names, and I'm like, that's not low budget, but no one really saw it, because it was a niche movie. It was a straight like martial arts spy movie kind of. But she was great.
What
That was like her.
about
Oh, that was 2011. But yeah, it
Salma
was great.
Hayek's movies too? Some of them, she's done a really good job. But
Oh
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah, yeah. And her in
um,
the Desperado movie, Desperado, Once Upon
thank
a
you.
Time in Mexico.
Once Upon a Time Mexico is
Great
fantastic too. Johnny
character.
Depp is fantastic.
Yeah, I love that. I love his character in that too. That's like peak Robert Rodriguez to me. His
But
style and
that Grizzly
everything.
scene was he gets his tongue off, right? Cut off his
Yeah,
tongue. Yeah.
like his eyes, his tongue,
Yeah.
like it's wild, man. It's a grisly
No,
scene.
but look, we're talking about we have a couple dozen cases if we're lucky,
Yeah,
and instead of forcing like diversity, 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 let's actually like create some stuff with real depth and like something that you can want to watch. And that's going to incentivize people. Okay, let's actually create something that's worth watching versus just having a numbers game because they flop every single time. Let's be real.
yeah. You remember that movie, The 355? No, you don't.
No, I don't know anything about that. I'm like thinking like, what the heck?
So it was a movie about all these female spies, like four of them, Jessica Chastain, Lupita Nyong'o, and two others I forgot.
Sounds like a
Who
Charlie Angels knockoff.
kind of, and Charlie's Angel remake, the 355 and the Charlie's Angel remake had the same issue, where they had these strong female characters, the same archetype, and the problem with them, if you see the films, they're all the same. There's nothing that splits them apart. They can all do hacking, they can all fight, they can all shoot guns. It's like no one's
It's action movies.
special. Like no one stands out. All the men in the movies are evil. It's like all these women are like 150 pounds, knocking out dudes who are like
Not even.
250. Like
Yeah. Well, what
that's
are you
the
doing?
problem.
Come
There's
on.
no
All
depth.
right.
There's no one standing out of the crowd. You know,
I'm, even someone who's 260 pounds because I'm a big guy, they punch me. I'm not getting knocked out in one punch. All right. I
no,
don't care
you
who
might be
anyone
like,
is.
yo, what the?
I was like, what the heck? You know
You
what I mean?
might
You
get a
gotta hit me with.
nosebleed, but
You
you're
have to
not going to be
throw a
knocked out.
cinder block in my face for me to get knocked out.
Yeah,
What? You know, you know
I
what I mean?
mean, obviously there's
Jessica
movie
Jones.
movie
I think it's a
bullshit that
good
you
one,
gotta
right?
you gotta get into, but it's like make it believable. And if I'm 180, if I go to punch The Rock, you really think I'm gonna knock him out? Come on, he's like
Straight
350
neck,
pounds of straight muscle. Like,
straight neck, dude. No,
yeah,
Jessica Jones is another character.
Oh yeah, great. Oh my gosh, Jessica Jones. That show, phenomenal. The first season, phenomenal. Second season is good too, phenomenal. That show, and she's a great character. I'm like, give me more of her. They keep talking about all these other characters coming back from Netflix series. I'm like, bring back Jessica Jones because she's such a great character, great written character, just great. I love her. I mean, another example that you just gave of a great female character. I mean, well written and everything. So I don't know, man. It's like bottom line is Lucasfilm, we're not their demographic anymore. All we can do is just watch their old stuff and have
Right.
solace in the fact that it's still there, you know. But
No, you can look back to the old times, and just like, oh, like I remember when it was actually entertaining, but I don't think it's. I don't think it's Favreau or Filoni's like path they want to do because I can
Nah,
tell they want to keep it as structured and classic as possible because they're just that type of guys, right? I don't think there's like some kind of underlying objective unless you're Kathleen Kennedy, who happens to be the embodiment of the Antichrist for this, you
I
know,
will say to
just
the
ruining
Lucasfilm's credit and Dave Filoni's credit, Ahsoka is a great character. I just
clever.
hope they don't ruin her.
I don't hope they don't ruin her either. And they have a fantastic actress who can play it, so just don't mess it up. I'm like, look,
Don't mess it
they
up.
happen to have really good original characters that finally are in the spotlight and have their own thing. Just don't mess it up. That's all
Yep.
we're asking. Like, it's not like we're asking like don't make women the central focus. Just don't have women as the central focus and find ways to demean men to make them look stronger. It's completely pointless and it's counterintuitive
And
because
you're losing a chunk
all
of
you're
your
doing is
audience.
having an echo chamber of the demographics you want versus everyone who wants to come watch it. It's pointless. It really is. Let's be real. You know
It's
what I mean?
pointless, man. But I don't want to um harp on it.
All
But
right. So you've been waiting for weeks
mhm.
of my list,
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Let me get that list.
my action movie list. So just to preface, guys, I asked Nigel, was like, so what's up with that? This was like after I watched John Wick, I think, believe it or not. And I asked, was like, hey, why are action movies like dead? Like just a quintessential action movie, right? Like, like the Sylvester Stallone and Arnold Schwarzenegger and, Jean Claude Van Damme, Chuck Norris, that type of stuff. Like a big thing that was happening in the late 70s, 80s, early 90s, right?
Hmm.
And it's pretty much not even a thing anymore.
Yeah,
And why is why is that? It kind of coincides with like culture, right? In terms of like men not getting the same view of regarding how they were until they were, like everyone wanted to be a strong like James Bond buff type of dude then, right? Now it's kind of like soft whatever soy guys,
I mean,
right?
look what they
And
did to Joel and what's that called? The Last of Us in the TV
oh
show.
yeah, Pedro Pascal, yeah.
Yeah,
Not a fan. I'm like, first off, that dude was gritty as heck.
I know.
I know I'm not allowed to curse on here, so but
Yeah, but
I'm like, I
his
don't
character was more
understand that
reminiscent of
choice.
part two than he was
It's
in
not
part
like he
one.
can't do it. He just needs to like change his approach. It wasn't on him. That was writing. That wasn't
Yeah,
him.
yeah,
He's a
yeah,
good
for sure.
actor. I have nothing against him. You know what I mean? So
Right,
anyway, the list. So about these action movies, right?
right.
So I saw John Wick. John Wick's just a quintessential great violent movie. Everyone likes violence, like
Yep.
women who are attractive, killing dudes, and all that stuff. Like that's just how it is. Call me whatever you want. It's fine. I'll take it and I'll die on the hill.
Let's
So I put Terminator 2 on the list because
go.
how do you not put Terminator 2 when you talk about action movies, right?
Right.
That's pretty much the apex of
Yes.
action movies.
And
Um,
good storytelling.
the Rambo series,
Hmm.
another one. Sly, dude's awesome. You know what I mean? Like you got Arnold Slide, you're good, pretty much every aspect.
Yeah.
Bloodsport,
Oh, yes.
come on, all right.
Yes.
Bloodsport's fantastic. Martial art movies, that type of thing. If you want to kind of go more classic kung fu, Chinese Connection, Return of the Dragon, Bruce Lee movies are fantastic.
Yes.
It Man, movies like that. I'm not putting them on my list, but guys, you got to watch that type of stuff because that is like it's cream of the crop type of stuff right there. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
I'm gonna go a little different. So action, Heat.
Oh, yes.
Come on, man. Heat are you probably
Come on, man.
one of the best movies ever made. If it's you just take action out of it, it's still one of the best movies ever made. And that
Bro,
stellar cast.
Michael Mann is one of my favorite directors, if not my top director of all time. Michael Mann.
Michael,
Can't go wrong.
dude, he is just money when it comes to this stuff, dude. It
Money,
was
baby.
just especially um I'm gonna put Point Break in there.
I would put it in there too.
I love some me Point Break. Yeah.
You know what's crazy? I'm gonna tell you something crazy. I
Who
watched the
watched? First
original
off,
Point
who's
Break.
watched it? Like, I'm curious how many people have actually seen that movie.
I have, but I watched the original Point Break for the first time at the end of last year during my parental leave. For the first time ever. And I loved it. Patrick Swayze, Keanu Reeves at the top. Come on, man.
Patrick
Come
Swayze's
on.
mullet's fantastic.
Yes. Yo, that dude was money, period, man. Like he could have been a great like action star dude. He could have been a great action star dude to this day because, you know, I'll make a statement. Uh I don't think action movies are dead. I think the action hero is dead.
Yes, prototypical guy. Jack Reacher in the books type of dude.
Yes,
Hundred
because
percent agree.
you see that Hollywood's starting to lose money on all this blockbuster BS. But what's coming out of the ether, the ashes? Tom Cruise's Mission Impossible series, Jack Reacher, the Extraction series, John Wick. Like all these action movies are making so much money, but on smaller budgets than The Flash, than Indiana Jones. Smaller, infinitesimal budgets and making all this money. It's
I got
coming
four
back, baby.
more. I got four more, and not
And
in
you
any
notice every
particular order.
single action movie I just said, the star is over 40 years old. So all our action heroes now
Are
are
old.
old men. They're coming back and they're like, you know what? These young boys ain't got it. These soy boys ain't got it. let, let me take the reins back. Shout out to
Yes.
Tom Cruise.
Speaking of Tom Cruise, he's on here. First Mission Impossible, dude. Ethan Hawke.
Classic.
Come on, bro.
Classic. I can't wait
Raiders
for
of the
the new
Lost
one.
Ark.
Oh, Raiders. Yeah. Still my favorite Indiana Jones. I know everyone says Last Crusade, but I still
Last
love the first one.
Crusade. The heck is wrong with them?
A lot of people say that.
What?
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people say that. When I was younger, for me, it was Temple of Doom. But now that I'm older, I'm like Raiders of the Lost Ark all the way. Back when it was not even an Indiana Jones franchise, but just a standalone movie. But yeah, continue.
I think that could be a bold take because I agree with you. I love Raiders of the Lost Ark. It's just way better. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? But
yeah,
it's just and Mission Impossible too. Like, I think it's because it's so old and we've had so many. Won't people forget how good the original Mission Impossible is? You know what I mean?
right. People tend to
Now
forget
I'm
because each
curious.
movie
Would you
just gets better.
would you put war movies in action, or is that a separate category?
I feel like that's a separate category. You
I
know,
think so too. Even though it's tons of action, I tend to agree with you. John Wick 2 is on the list.
oh yeah, yeah. I mean, the whole John Wick series, man, it's just awesome. It's
But
actually
2 in particular,
why two though?
I think you have an idea. Because one, he's kind of an enigma, right? You don't have like a good understanding. You have somewhat of an understanding, but two, he is just out on a vengeance, and he has just got the wrath of God going after everyone for vengeance. It's beautiful.
Recently I rewatched all the movies, and I realized that I watched one and three so much, I forgot how good two was. And I rewatched it recently, and I was like, "Yo, two is baller. Love it." I was like, you know what? I can't even pick which one's my favorite anymore because I rewatched them all after seeing four, and I'm
Three's
like,
good too.
I don't know which one because I'm a sucker for martial arts hand to hand combat. So three had a lot of that, so I just kept rewatching three, and then I went back to two, and I was like, that fight between him and Common, the first fight, where they're just doing grappling and throwing. I was like, yo, that's amazing, bro. That fight is amazing. But yeah,
All right, I
John Wick series is
got
awesome.
Bullet.
Bullet, haven't seen it.
Well,
Yeah,
how much is your
I've only seen pieces.
really?
Hmm.
Why is that? Well, is that just time period just not your thing?
No, I actually I'm a fan of older movies, especially like the old epics and like
Steve McQueen, though, man, like you can add Steve McQueen.
well my
Um,
pops see my introduction to older movies is from my pops, and whatever he was watching I was able to watch because I grew up in a very strict household, and my pops would he would be a little more lenient when he wanted to show me movies from his childhood. So I grew up on Jean-Claude Van Damme, Sylvester Stallone, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Jackie Chan, Bruce Lee, Jet Li, and yeah, those Jim Kelly, all those cats. So I basically just followed those movies, those cats in those movies, basically. But I've watched older films, but the older films I've watched are like not action films. They're like stuff I watched in film school and stuff, you know.
My last one is Deliverance.
Deliverance. Oh,
Burt
I haven't seen that
Reynolds.
either.
Oh, jeez, dude. Burt Reynolds was the guy in the '70s, dude.
Yeah, Burt
You know what I
Reynolds.
mean?
Yeah.
And then we can just randomly throw National Treasure in there too, I guess.
Someone told me the other day, Pedro Pascal is younger Hispanic, Burt Reynolds, and I cannot unsee it. I just see it all the time.
Burt Reynolds had like sex appeal and stuff. Then like Pedro Pascal's got this weird like porno daddy thing going on.
Well, Pedro Pascal is definitely a celebrity of today, if you catch my drift. So I can see where you're going with that. You know what I'm saying?
Burt
I can
Reynolds
agree.
epitomized.
Burt Reynolds was like the man's man, you know. He was that
Yeah,
guy.
like Sean Connery as James Bond
Sean Connor, yes, yeah. Those two guys were like the man's man.
from Russia with Love. If I had to put
Yeah,
James Bond in there, I wouldn't really consider that action because it's like a different type of thing, but put that in there. But
yeah.
I mean, that's my
I
list. What do you
mean,
think?
is the man's man? I like your list. I do. Um, I would add some things and stuff like that, but I
So
love your list.
I wanted to go all time periods, right? And I wanted to keep it to like 10.
Mhm.
And anything more is like, look, I can plug and play certain ones, but some of
Yeah,
them are just I can't justify taking out.
you can't, and especially a time like this where there was a time. You're absolutely right. There was a time when the action movies died, so to speak, uh, and made rise to the big superhero blockbusters. And then 2011, what comes out? Um, The Raid Redemption, Indonesian film, and I saw it in theaters in Indonesian. It was a birthday gift to myself, and I loved it. It's amazing. One of the best martial arts films of all time. And then the second one came out 3 years later. I saw it again for my birthday as a gift to me. The Raid 2, still to this day, one of the greatest martial arts films of all time. And the Raid 1 and 2 really brought back more action and more martial arts films. Um, I just had a brain fart. But yeah, the uh the action scene is coming back now because they cost less money, they make more money, and you can attribute that to John Wick too. I mean John Wick 1, because John Wick, people don't realize John Wick was an independent film. Chad still to I always mess up his name. Stahelski always talks about how the first John Wick, no one wanted it. No one would buy it. No studio would buy it. So, and this team were just like, look, we're just going to make the film and see if any will get it after we're done. Lionsgate came around, bought it soon, like during the production, the middle of production. And then it was a hit, like a hit. And it was just supposed to be one movie. And then it is what it is now. And John Wick to this
But
day,
that's fine. Action movies can have multiple iterations, and it's
yeah,
okay.
yeah, of
It's not
course.
always just meant for like story. Like you can have like, sorry, that's the good thing with the John Wick 4 is like, yeah, I guess it kind of like, certain areas it's good where it has closure, but if they have wanted to add more, that's fine too, because that's just how those movies are.
Yeah, I'm glad, and I'm just a little worried because studios were obsessed with like trilogies back in the day. The three, everything has to have the three. They even stretched The Hobbit out to three movies. But now studios are obsessed with franchises to where can we get a TV series out of this? Can we get a video game? Can we get comic books? So now John Wick is being stretched out. They have a TV show coming out, and I'm like, now we're changing this to a franchise. I'm a little worried that it's going to get stretched thin and the quality is going to go down because of that. But we only time will tell. I trust that Stahelski and his team will have the the John Wick series in the hands of great people and great creators. But for right now, we'll see how it turns out.
I
But
forgot to put Godzilla and Kong in there, by the way.
yeah, all those type of movies. I would put the extraction films now too. A lot of these films the modern films that you put on your list, are being made by directors who used to be stuntmen, who are now they went from stuntmen to stunt coordinators to second unit directors to now full on writer directors. And Stahelski, David Leitch, Sam Hargrave, all these people they're in the director seat now. Even
What about The Last Samurai?
great film, great film. But I don't know. There's not that much fighting in The Last Samurai. I feel like it's more like story driven than people give it credit for. It was advertised as an action film, and rightly so, but I feel like there's more like existentialism in it than people give it credit for. It's about being, the warrior whose time is up.
It
Who
came out
who
around the same time as Cold Mountain. Remember that movie?
Nah, I don't remember Cold Mountain.
Cold Mountain movie. Yeah,
I
there's
think
a lot of
Last
people in it.
Samurai
Nicole
is
Kidman. There was
2000.
a huh?
Oh, 2003. Last Samurai, yeah, 2003.
Yeah, Cold Mountain came out around that time too. I
That
think
was right after Spider-Man.
2003. Yeah, it came out literally came out at the same time. There was this Cold Mountain. Have you ever heard of Cold Mountain Curse?
Nah.
So Cold Mountain Curse was like people who couldn't find any like real success or like any kind of traction in their careers after Cold Mountain because of how well of a success it was critically. You know
Oh,
what I
really? Oh, really?
mean?
That's funny because I'm looking at the cast and I'm like, all these people are killing it in the game right now.
Now, yeah, now, but it
Well,
took a
except for
while.
Renee Zellweger. I don't know what happened to her.
She got married
But
to Kenny Chesney and they got
oh,
annulled.
oh, well. But everybody on this list, uh,
Nicole Kidman,
Giovanni
man.
Ribsy, Ray
Rabinski, yeah.
Winston. I mean, everybody's doing great. Jack White, Charlie Hunnam, Ethan Suplee, like
Mm-hmm.
Lucas Black. Well, Lucas Black fell off hard. I don't know, but yeah, like all these people are doing great, man. That's funny that you say that.
That's another good
Everybody.
movie too. It's pretty good. Just want to watch. So what would how, so I'm curious, what would you put in here? Like if you had to put a definitive list, what would be the list?
Well, I would add on like the extraction movies, the raid movies, you know, um,
No
anything
Tomb
with
Raider?
Jackie Chan in it, Well,
Tomb Raider?
Tomb Raider,
Jackie
those are
Chan
tough.
movies, so like Rush Hour?
Yeah, I would add Rush Hour on there. I mean, there's the issue that they hired Jackie Chan but didn't let Jackie Chan be Jackie Chan. But he was still able to get some good fight scenes in there. But yeah, like Jackie Chan movies, Jet Li movies. I mean, there's a lot of stuff I would add.
Transporter?
Oh yeah, the first Transporter, the only good one.
No, don't go to yeah, yeah.
The other ones he became like the other ones they became like the Fast and Furious movies where they just became unrealistic as hell. And I think it's funny that after Fast 10 lost its director, Louis Leterrier joined as the new director, and I'm like, that's perfect because that's the guy who did the Transporter movies. The first three, I think.
Did you watch Fast 10?
Nah, I still gotta watch 9, so I haven't watched 10. I don't at this point. I don't even know why I watched them. I think
That's
it's
not a
just because,
principle. You gotta keep up for the fact that, I've come this far. Let's finish this.
dude, that's how I feel about Marvel content. I'm like, I've come this far. Like, I'm like, why am I watching Secret Invasion? Why
That's
did
why
I
I
go
play
see
Final Fantasy, by
Quantum?
the way.
Oh yeah,
I've played every single one.
I've only played one. I'm not really a JRPG guy, and
I know,
I know
but
people
at
are
this
gonna.
point, it's like I gotta keep this going. If they go up to 55, if I'm still alive, I gotta just do it.
It's ironic that Final Fantasy doesn't have a finale.
Well, it's because every game's not contingent. Well, most games are not contingent on another.
Yeah. I
There's
mean,
no,
there's a
I
story
guess,
behind
linear.
the first Final Fantasy was supposed to be the final game of the studio, but it was such a success that they just kept it going, you know.
But there's a lot of good ones in that thing. It's not like they've been bad games. There's
No,
been way more good than bad.
I'm just not a JRPG guy. I recently realized it's because of like Japanese games, their video game HUD is just so busy. It's like visual dissonance to me. It makes my brain fry.
So do
So
you
I was
think
like,
that's why they wouldn't do it as a live action?
no, it would be hard because I think I talked about this before where it's like Japanese content is so different from Western culture. It's hard to, translate it to over here, which is why so many Japanese anime that are turned into live action just do horribly over here. Um, I was telling you that I recently started watching Yu Yu Hakusho again, and I should time mark this for my Yu Yu friends who swear it's the best anime ever. If someone asks me tomorrow, yo, be the showrunner for a live action Yu Yu Hakusho show, uh, I'm gonna make some changes. I'm gonna make a lot of changes. I don't even know if I would make Koenma still a kid. I think maybe Koenma in my iteration would be a grown man who just has daddy issues or mommy issues who likes to walk around with a pacifier in his mouth. But I don't know if I would have a child play a Koenma. That little creature that's Yusuke's soul, his
They are
manifested
making a live
Poe.
action of this.
Yeah, I know. Ugh,
What
ugh.
what are we doing?
Bro. But
Why can't we have a Final Fantasy live action? But we got this. You might as well have Bobo live
I
action.
remember that. Bo 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 bo. Like,
I what
oh,
are
if
we
you
do?
know, you know. Deep cuts.
So so who's playing the main character?
I don't even know, man. I don't pay attention to this
Is it a
stuff.
guy
Like
or girl?
the trailer,
Can't tell.
the trailer.
I'm sorry. Like I can't.
I don't know, man. And the
I
trailer for the One
they
Piece live
hired a
action
woman
came out.
is I'm being serious. Like I'm looking at this picture right now. Who is this?
Wait, there's a Yu Yu Hakusho live action, and you can't tell
Go
who.
look and you tell me.
Let me check IMDb because this can't be. Oh, okay.
Tell me.
2020.
Tell me if you can tell. Can you tell?
So who's supposed to play Yusuke?
Yeah,
Or
look.
or
Look.
I'm looking at the guy who's supposed to play Kurama, and I'm like, okay. But
No,
that's
I
his
put
whole
it in the
thing.
chat right here. Take a look.
Yeah. That's every anime has that. Oh no, and the guy who's supposed to play Yusuke, I see what you're saying, but if you look at his headshot
That's a
on
guy.
IMDb, yeah, that's a guy. On his headshot, he looks regular like a dude, but I mean, not to say that it's regular, but like he looks like a guy's guy. It's just the way they have his hair and that. Why do they have Hiei looking like? Let me stop looking at this because this is
You're
ridiculous.
like, what is this?
Why? Why are they looking like that? First of all, spoiler alert: if I was to make a live action Yu Yu Hakusho, Kurama's dying in the Dark Tournament. It's not going to be a joke. He's not going to come back to life.
You know who I would
Genkai
hire?
and Kurama.
You know who I would be have as you?
Who?
Vin Diesel.
He would be a better Tagoro, a better Tagoro,
Vin Diesel.
and he would beat everybody no matter what with a wrench, and then he would
And
drive away
I'm
in his
gonna
muscle
have
car.
get this. I'm gonna have Wes Anderson make the movie.
What? No, no. That's so far from, from his material. That would be a disaster, dude.
The
Like,
Michael Jordan of movie makers.
no. Oh, that's a question I have to ask you. We're gonna.
Already did.
Ah,
Already said it. Because that's why I brought it up.
who is? I think James Cameron is the Michael Jordan of film,
No. Out so just anyone knows because
of film
this guy
directors.
uses Michael Jordan's reference like you could use it with anything. You can't because Michael Jordan's untouchable and it's not even this you
That's
can't dispute it.
debatable.
Anyone who likes LeBron is just recency
That's
bias.
debatable.
I've never seen Michael Jordan in person or watched a game and he just owned everyone.
I
Okay?
have a friend. Shout out. If you know, you know. I have a friend who would say Tim Duncan is the greatest of all time.
Is he smoking crack? No. You know it's Michael Jordan. Tell your friend smokes crack.
I'm
All
gonna
right?
timestamp this and be like, bro.
Out of your mind. Tim Duncan's great, but no, okay, there's no way he was a role player. That man could not do it. Michael Jordan, given his ability, even though he's 6'6", could play 4 of the 5 positions. Duncan could not do that. Okay,
All
LeBron's
right.
2 because he could play off. That's besides the point. All right, I'm forgiving you for your lack of sports knowledge for this.
For
You're
argument's
comparing
sake,
Cameron to Michael Jordan. Cameron is still you can have debates with Cameron about how good his movies are compared to others.
right. That's what I'm saying. Is he the MJ of
No,
the industry
no.
of directors?
Because this is why I said Wes Anderson was there, and you're like, I don't like his stuff. I was like, yeah, but Hollywood does. The critics do. How many awards has he won? This man's stacked with awards.
But three of the top what 5 or 10 films of the highest grossing films
Yeah, no.
are three of
If you want to make
Cameron's.
home runs, if you want to make home runs, Cameron's the guy. I'm not saying that, and I'm not saying he's not great, right? In terms of his content.
He puts money in everybody's pocket. Everything he makes is a home run. This guy is gone for 13 years, and if he drops a film and it's number one across the board, across the board.
Okay,
My man
so
makes a number
what
one.
about all right, so
Mhm.
here's a couple ones. You got Stanley Kubrick.
Okay.
I would say Cameron probably based a lot of his movies from him anyway, in terms of how they're made. All right. Um,
Say that.
I mean, you could put Scorsese in there.
Mm,
We're
mm.
talking about culturally defining movies these guys have done.
Bro, bro, you want to talk about cultural defining? People were committing suicide after watching Avatar so that they could go to Pandora when they died.
No, trust me, I understand. Francis Coppola, all right,
After Godfather 3, I don't know, man.
but didn't Cameron do some okay movies?
He did some okay documentaries, but every single one of his movies was a hit run, son. I'm talking about the ones he directed,
No, that's
not
what
the
I'm
ones he
saying. I'm going
produced. Now I'm
here.
talking about the director, MJ of directing.
I know. I'm talking about NJ directing. We're gonna go in this list. I'm gonna tell you right now that you're wrong.
Because technically he did produce the last Terminator movie and it was not great. But directing
Let's
wise,
take this out as just director.
oh, you want to take it out of director. And
No, I
that's
am taking out director. I'm looking at all the movies. Okay, so
Cameron's the guy, man.
Ghosts of the Abyss. The heck is this?
That sounds like his
Got a
um
6.8 out of 10. It's Bill Paxton, director and actor of this
oh
1977.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I heard that was dope though, son. I didn't see it yet. That's actually on my list. But I heard it was dope, son.
Uh, I I just I mean, here's the thing, dude. Francis Coppola has like the thing that these guys have that came in the 60s and 70s that they have over Cameron's like they made movies that like defined movie culture. The Godfather as a whole, 1 and 2, the third was okay. It wasn't so bad, but even 3 was a complete dumpster fire. 1 and 2 is so good it can completely negate the effects from 3.
You know what? That's a good argument. All the directors you said, they like shaped culture. I still to this day quote Godfather quotes. Like I'm like,
Give me can you quote any part of the Titanic like that?
no.
Okay. I remember Kate Winslet being naked, and I remember
Every dude
Leonardo
does.
DiCaprio dying because she wouldn't get off the door.
Now that you say that, we were talking about earlier offline because I said something to you. I said Avatar, the franchise that makes all the money, but everyone forgets after they
Yeah,
leave the
no,
theater.
absolutely. So, but
So
see,
we
this is what
can,
I'm saying. Like,
yeah,
but I told you it was kind of making my point. Like, everyone forgets it, but you remember Apocalypse Now, movies that are like have
that's very
defined
true.
these movies. Like, dude, like,
That's so true. People who haven't even seen these movies know, like, leave the cannoli. You know, like they know stuff like that. They know these quotes from Coppola's films, Spielberg's films. You know, even George Lucas's films, like you and I just talked about earlier. Um, People who don't even know Star Wars can quote Star Wars.
he's making another movie, Francis Coppola,
Really? What's the movie?
Megapolis or something. I'm going to look right now. I'm like, how is he credited for this? It's called Megalopolis.
Maybe it's because maybe he wrote it, or
No, he's getting credited as director.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm gonna see it. Jason Schwartzman, Shia LaBeouf.
Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah.
LaBeouf.
Adam Driver, Giancarlo Esposito. Okay, I'm watching this. John Voight, Lawrence Fishburne. I'm watching it. I don't care what
Bro,
it is. I don't care what it is. It's Francis Coppola with Adam
tell me,
Driver.
because first off, this man's 100 years old almost, but the fact that he can do this and he's pulling in that cast, how many people can do that?
Holy crap! Dustin Hoffman, Forrest Whitaker, James Raymar. Like what? Yo, I'm watching this movie, son.
But look, he also did The Outsiders.
Yeah.
You know, everyone knows The Outsiders.
So when we talk about, because I think this is the same issue when people debate if MJ is the best. Because some people talk about points, some people talk about championships, some people talking about, he's coming back from a
He's
stomach
got
virus and
both.
dropping all those points.
He's got both.
When we talk
He's
about
got
best,
everything.
when we talk about best director, what are we talking about? Are we talking about ticket sales? Are we talking about number one movies? Are we talking about pop culture? Um, uh, their effects on pop culture.
You
Like,
mean
what are
like
we talking
blockbusters? Like he made a lot of money for
about?
that stuff then, but because of how movies are the way they are now, like it's easier to make money now. You know what I mean? So you can't really compare the two in terms of effect of
I
that.
would say it's harder to make money now
Yeah, because
because
there's a lot more variety, right? Yeah.
studios aren't trying to put money in anything unless there's like superheroes and CGI because they know it'll make money.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. Like you have more movies making money now than back then, though. Is what I'm
Oh
saying.
yeah, 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 yeah. There's this issue. Someone was talking about this online with when people are like, "Oh, the top 10 movies." It's hard to do that because inflation comes into play and inflation in making the movie, inflation with the ticket sales. So it's hard to determine this stuff because if you didn't count inflation or whatever, or if you did count inflation, like you would still have Gone with the Wind and Singing in the Rain as the top films of all time or whatever. But yeah, it's hard with film. It's because at the end of the day, when Michael Jordan scores 60 points, it's still 60 points in a game. But when someone makes what 200 mil on a movie, you have to count in
And he's 6
like
and 0 in
the
championships. He's got
yeah,
defining highlight moment reels. The
because a
guy,
ticket
you know,
costs $13 at this theater, or it might cost $7 at this theater, and then 20 years ago tickets were a lot less money, and
right.
then 40 years ago, it's hard to
And your
determine.
point about like avatars, like it's true. You get a memory block when it comes to Avatar when you leave. You're like, oh, I forgot about that.
Let me ask you this, because we're Avatar. I think maybe the problem, I don't know, maybe the problem is because they're so tailored to watching them in 3D IMAX with these big screens that we forget about them after they're done. Because watching them at home on a streaming service ain't cutting it. So I'm afraid because I'm gonna see Oppenheimer. I saw the trailer for Oppenheimer the other day. I'm like, I'm definitely seeing this movie, son.
I'm glad you listened to me after a month and a half of me saying, "Oh, I don't know about this." I'm like, "What do you mean you don't know
I
about
saw the
this? This is like
trailer at
this
the
is one of the
movies.
most
Mm.
This is one of the most defining moments in human history. You have to watch this. What the heck?
But I'm seeing it, and I'm like, there's an advertisement on my computer for it right now, and I'm afraid that Oppenheimer is only going to be good if you see it in an IMAX theater.
You
Like,
can't see
what's
it in
two?
IMAX unless you're one of the 30.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. So
So just anyone knows about Oppenheimer because Nolan went extra on this. Was it 70 millimeter? So
I'm watching. I'm looking at it right now. 70
there,
millimeter.
yeah, 70 millimeter. So in order for you to see this in IMAX, there are 30 theaters in the country that are equipped to handle this thing because the film reel is like 400 pounds and
Mhm.
it's like 15 miles long.
Which is wild, son.
Well, it's,
I'm gonna
you
try to
know,
see it. Obviously,
I want to see this whole thing. I mean, the closest IMAX theater to me that's playing it is in LA. I hate that city, and I don't know if I'm willing to see that movie. I'm like, as much as I'm like want to see the thing in IMAX, I don't know if I'm willing to drive all the way to LA to see this movie.
mm.
I hate that city. It's the worst, second worst city in the world. So,
Oh my
I,
gosh, I'm looking at the
but no,
website
but
now.
that's just, and you know how he is. He doesn't care if his movies make money or not about this stuff. He's like, whatever, if they want to go see it in these, it's fine. It's just,
I feel like it's easy for people to say stuff like that when they are making money.
well, yeah,
Like,
he's made a lot, and it's just
come
like,
back to me when you're living out of your car. You're trying to make a short film to make money or something. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know because I think Christopher Nolan, I don't want to say he's starting to go see now, but he's just like
he's
I don't
dying from dementia.
Christopher Nolan, he's too young for that. But he's like he just doesn't care. He doesn't even care about his audience. Like when people are like, "Yo, I
No,
literally can't hear the dialogue in your film." He's like, "Well, that's
no,
because you went
can't
to
hear
a."
anything.
He's like, "You
No,
didn't go to a good theater. The theater in your area sucks. I only make films for great theaters, and yours sucks."
no, I just could. Well, besides the fact I'm deaf in one ear anyway, but that's besides the point.
Right.
Um,
And I'm like,
no, that's
"Whoa."
everyone's got that issue with Tenet. Like, I had to pump my TV thing to like 80
It's not just
just to.
Tenet though. It's a lot of his movies have that issue. Tenet is just the latest where it's so bad. Like some of his movies has been kind of bad, but this
It's like
time
he
it's
put the
so
mute
bad.
button on when he was filming. I'm like, and he just no, seriously. I think he filmed it in normal dialogue, and then he like re-edited all the voices in a lower volume.
Well, just to inform the people, like I would say 80 to like 90% of the audio you hear in big blockbuster films are ADR. They're added later so that you get the best quality sound. Whereas with his film, I think he just shot it and they were like, "Yo, we didn't get good audio, so we got to do ADR." He was like, "Nah, it's fine." He's just like,
No, it was fine. I'm doing this once, fam.
"Yeah,
That's
I'm
it.
doing this once."
I don't even think he needs an editing team. He was like, you know what? We're just doing this once.
Damn, you're making him sound like Tyler Perry. We got the shot. It's fine. We'll fix it in post.
I mean, I honestly do think they did the nuclear part for Oppenheimer once because it was just so freaking
Well, you
expensive
have
to
to.
recreate that. You're like,
Yeah.
guys, we're doing this once because it was like 140 million just to do that scene because of the expense to split the atom and blow it up in the middle of the desert. Like it's unbelievable that the government even allowed him to do that. But it's
I mean,
all in
it's
the name
Christopher
of
Nolan, man.
science.
It's Universal. I mean, he left Warner Brothers after the whole pandemic and Warner Brothers releasing movies at the same time. He told them he was going to do it, and they were like, "No, you're not." And then he was like, "Watch my beer, hold my beer." He left and he went to Universal. So I feel like Universal would have moved heaven and earth to give this man whatever he wanted to make whatever film he
He
wanted.
needs to make porn. He would make it good. I'm telling you.
Because
Could you
nothing is
imagine a
CGI,
Christopher
everything is real.
Nolan porn?
Nothing is fake, everything's real. Hey,
Can you
if we
imagine?
got to take a week to shoot this, we're going to shoot this, man.
A Christopher Nolan porn sub I would love to see. We got to
Oh
make
my
it
gosh.
happen. Sign a petition for this.
Well, if he keeps pissing off his audience, he might have to turn to that, you know.
I don't know. His movies are making money no matter what because the
Yeah.
type of like his movies are so original. Like nothing is give him for all of his faults, right? He does try to make something original and nothing that is a cop out. That I give him credit for. The creativity is through the roof.
That's true. He does try to make something original and he makes money doing original IP. You know what I'm saying?
No one's even touched this whole weapon, Manhattan Project before, which blows my mind. And it's probably one of the most important events in human history because, one, if we didn't have this, just for anyone who didn't understand, and we didn't drop it in Japan, we'd have lost the war. So, I mean, that's pretty big if you ask me. The Nazism spreads across the entire continent and, it goes to the United States. So it's just
I bet you money I bet money that he still does his Nolan time thing in this movie. I bet money.
Nolan. Oh, yeah, like the random ass, like time jumps.
Like Dunkirk is another example where he did a movie about a real event, but
It
he
was
still
fantastic, by the way.
it was, but he still did his crazy like time jump, skips forward and skip backward type thing. That I was like, wait, what? Oh, okay. So I'm like,
But see, but it was an obscure battle in World War One that people don't
hmm,
talk about, but it was very pivotal in terms. It's like good. You're actually finally like educating people on something that's needed.
right.
And now we're talking about the Manhattan Project, and it's just like, you know what? Even though this happened late or early 40s, late 30s, like this is huge. The fact that, just for context, like the fact that we were able to keep it a secret, and so we dropped the thing, is amazing
It's
all by
wild.
itself.
Yeah, it's wild. Especially because the lengths they had to go, getting
They
all
had
the
to
great
recruit
scientists,
scientists from Europe mostly, right? Most of them
right?
were German, Austrian scientists,
Create a whole
Soviet stuff,
town in the middle of
just
nowhere
for them. I know
just for them.
test sites out here, dude.
And
It
it
just
looks
it
great,
just became
man.
safe enough for us to do like tours and stuff.
Yeah, it looks great, man. It looks like Nolan's got every single all the great white actors working today. He got all of them, put them in a movie.
Well, I mean, you have to put white because they're all German.
I,
Like, what do you
I,
expect? Like, people are gonna have this issue. Where's the diversity? It's like, well, what do
I
you mean?
know,
There was no diversity back
I
then.
know, I know.
You know what I mean? Did you
I
see a
did see
black
one
German
black guy.
scientist? Because I would love to have seen it.
I did see one black guy though. I was looking
He
for him. I
wasn't
found
German. There's no way he was German.
him.
I'm
Nah, he's
telling
from
you that right
Detroit.
now.
He's there though. He was there. You know?
When
Oh
Jesse
man.
Owens won the Olympics, right, in front of
Mhm.
like Hitler and stuff, Hitler almost had a stroke when a black man won. All right,
Yeah, I know.
so it was like the fact that if you had a black scientist, during Germany at that point, even though they weren't full fascism yet, it's like no, all right, no, it's
Yeah,
fascinating. I'm looking forward to it, and we got to celebrate human achievement, and I feel like for so long we've just been on this path, just like let's just lack of a better word, just crap all over this country and all that, whatever. But this is actually good. Like, hey, look, this is something that we actually did something to band together to vanquish the evil, so to speak. And it's a real thing. You don't have to make something up to give you that unified feeling.
yeah, man. I'm excited to see it just for the human element. Excuse me, human element
How are
of
you going to watch it with it being 4 hours? Like, how are you going to prepare yourself?
bro. I'm going to have to like dehydrate myself like I never did before. I did it for Avatar 2, but I'm
But
gonna
this
have to
is
go
another
to a
level. This is an
whole
extra 40
extreme.
minutes. It's an
Yeah,
extra 40
bro.
minutes. So what I think you'll need to do is that you need to do the SpongeBob out of the water treatment. You know how like he's so shriveled up and dying when he's out of water? You just need to not drink water for a full day before. Do like what Henry Cavill does. So when he looks like
Yeah,
crazy ripped, he does a
what
water fast for like a
Hugh
day and a
Jackman
half.
used to do. I'm gonna have to do that, or considering the fact that I'm usually the only one in the theater, just bring a bottle and do what I got to do. Bring an empty bottle.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to watch it, but I'm going to have a nice 44-ounce drink next to me. Hold it
Lucky
because I'm really
bastard.
good at holding it and have a big popcorn.
Nah, son. I can't do it. I can't hold it. I mean, I was watching The Flash the other day only because it's free. You know, I have the Regal Unlimited pass,
Was
and
it trash?
I was like, why is this movie 2 hours and 24 minutes?
Is it bad? Yeah, bad. Stupid.
I mean, that's The Flash.
That
All
two
the
hours you could have done doing anything else.
you feel me? Like the every review I see is either people thought it was fun and they loved it, or they just didn't like it. There's no like in between. And I got critiques, you know me,
The
and I'm
Donald
like,
Trump of movies right now.
and it has nothing to do with Ezra Miller. I have my own issues with Ezra
No,
Miller,
personally, he's a piece of junk, but he plays Barry Allen fine.
but yeah, it's someone. I was just talking to somebody about it yesterday, and I was like, because they were talking about how they haven't watched movies lately because they don't like a lot of CGI stuff, and I was like, well, don't see The Flash
What?
because literally everything is fake except for
Including Ben
this.
Affleck's non-risk wrinkles.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah,
You think I'm
everything
playing?
is fake in there.
You
Yeah,
think I'm
his
playing?
face does look different in that movie
No,
though.
they had to because he's not much younger than Michael Keaton.
Yeah, true,
They made
true.
Michael Keaton look hella old in there. He does not look that bad.
Yeah, he doesn't. He doesn't. That's
He's
true. They did make
fantastic.
him look older.
And
And
he
Ben
was the
Affleck,
best
his
part
face
in
looked
the other
different.
guys, by the way. Captain Gene.
I love that. I'm about to
Listen,
watch that when I get off here. But yeah, man. I mean,
I have two jobs here, Bed Bath and Beyond, so I can pay for my son to get NYU, to explore his bisexuality, and become a DJ.
classic, classic Will Ferrell and
He
John C.
says it
Riley
so
movie.
perfectly. Like, how
Classic.
many takes did it take for him to say that line so perfectly? And I'm like, you can tell because you can see Mark Wahlberg and Will Ferrell's like they didn't show their face the entire time. I mean, they were dying.
Because he just says every crazy line in that movie straight as hell. And like I would be dying laughing. I was just thinking about them today, especially in Talladega Nights, that riff that they have about how they want their Jesus to be betrayed. Like especially John C. Riley when he's like, I want my Jesus to wear a tuxedo shirt because it shows that I'm about my business, but I'm also here to party because I like to
Like,
party. I want my Jesus to party.
formal. He knows that he could be formal.
Yeah, he can be formal, but he also likes to party. I like to party, so I want my Jesus to party.
Or how the other guys, The Rock and Samuel Jackson, literally jump off the building. You think it's a joke, but they really killed themselves.
Oh
And
my
Ice
gosh.
T does the
Oh yeah.
narration, which is even
He's like, I
better.
don't know why they did that. That was crazy, man.
And they actually had Michael Bloomberg, who was the real mayor of New York at the time, doing the ceremony for their funeral. I'm like, how did they pull this off?
Because it's Will Ferrell and Mark Wahlberg. I don't know, man. But
John, dude, and uh,
oh,
who was Riggles Rob Riggles partner in there? He was in
oh, Damon
that.
Wayans Jr.
Oh, dude. Statistically, 2/3 of you guys are going to be dead by your next birthday when you're in the classroom. It
He
was
said,
like, and try really, really
"Oh yeah."
hard not to be black or
Oh,
Hispanic. I'm
he said,
like,
"If you don't want to get stopped by the cops, try really, really hard not to be black or Hispanic." And they were all like, And then he was like, "Next time, me, you, library."
oh yeah, they're fighting at the funerals,
Yeah,
and then he's screaming while whispering.
Michael Keaton. What do you guys do? A man die. Oh my gosh. I remember back in the day we used to watch that movie constantly. We had the DVD. We just watch
Uh,
it constantly.
Dude, that was such a good movie. It's crazy. He's 13 years old, but it's like Mark Wahlberg hasn't aged a day, bro. It's crazy, and I'm glad he's made some of himself. Like he could do a lot of stuff. We
Yeah.
need movies like that too. Like you don't have like real comedies that are willing to push the barrier. That thing pushed some limits,
They don't
and
make
it's
them
very
anymore, you know. It's gonna take a John Wick of a comedy movie to bring them back like
no, because
John
you
Wick
don't have
did.
guys like Adam Sandler and you know like his whole entourage, like Rob Snyder, and you had David Spade. Like you don't have guys like that doing stuff anymore because they're tired of Danny McBride, guys like that who push the limits constantly, and
They got
they're
their money
just
and they got old, man. Like
well, they're
they're
disenfranchised.
tired.
Like Danny McBride's, he did an interview with Barstool recently, and Barstool's like, so you don't live in Hollywood anymore? What's up with that? You live here in Charleston. He was like, well, you know, something about Hollywood. I know the stick is that you have to memorize lines and then tell people what to think. And I just got tired of doing that. He was like, "Why?" He's like, "I just couldn't handle the pressure anymore." I'm like, well, it's pretty true though. It's just a standard now. And that type of comedy that he does, like, it's good for TV. I don't think it'll really resonate in movies. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because he does not just him. A lot of those old school comedic guys, they like to riff and they like to do the improvisation, but people don't want that anymore, you know. But I mean,
Yeah.
it is what it is, you know. This was another good one, my nomads.
Oh yeah.
This was a nice long one, but we had some stuff to get off our chest. Uh, you know, if you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. But we had some stuff to get off our chest. Next time we'll have another movie coming at you guys to review, and it will not be The Flash. I'll tell you that. But we will review something for you guys. But this was another good one. Thanks for coming back out, Zach. Be
All right,
creative,
brother.
my nomads. Peace.